Hey everybody, Jabman025 here. Today I'm taking a look at my 72nd Master Grade, the Exia. And as some of you may be confused that I already have Exias. In fact, two of them. I have the Trans Am and the Ignition mode. Now there is a third version of the Exia, the Repair mode. To make the Repair mode, all you need is the Cloak, some decals, and the L plate that came with Ignition mode. So if you hang on to those after you've built the Ignition mode and get a standard Exia, you can make the Repair. The thing is, you just don't use the manual that came with the standard Exia. You use the repair manual that gives you all the different options you got to do to make the repair mode. And in case anyone's wondering, yes, I got the clear parts with this kit. It is the B plate, which is mostly waist, some leg, a little bit of ankle armor, and one part for the shield. I'm not going to be using any of the clear parts on this kit, but I thought I'd go ahead and show them to you just in case you were wondering. Now, in the standard Exia, the parts that are chrome in the Ignition mode are just a plain silver. So if you want to use those parts there that are in the GN drive and the gun, you might have to do some painting. Also, the decals don't match up in every single place. For example, here on the chest piece, you don't have a decal if you want to use the LED lights. So if you want it to look right and still have that gap open, you'll have to paint it. You also get a new chest piece for the cockpit, a gray part that comes on the L plate instead of the standard color. You're also missing a couple of vents on the top. The head has been heavily modified. It's missing half of the face. And on the right side of the head, it's really chewed up and beat up. The right side of the head is still pretty much the same, but the V-fin is missing half it. The eye has been replaced with a Terminator-type eye. When Setsuna repaired it, he used pretty much whatever he could find. The right arm is missing that cable that connected the shoulder to the arm, and the shoulder itself is missing all of its armor. But it's still a bit of a pain in the butt to connect the arm. I thought removing that little cable would make things easier. No, it's still a pain in the butt. There is no left arm. As for the right leg, it's missing its ankle armor. This clear piece here used to have a top piece of green that held it into place. Now it doesn't want to stay in place. I had to glue it in there to keep it in place. It's missing the ankle armor in front of the knee. The left leg, all it's missing is a little bit of ankle armor. And once again, you have to add that sticker that came with the Ignition mode stickers to put it on there. Waist armor, just missing one piece of front skirt armor. And here you can see the kit pretty much done. You see here we have on where the left arm is supposed to be, we have this connector that has two ball joints on it. That is to attach this cloak. This cloak comes in two parts. It fits together as so they are independent. They still, are set together, but they do not move as one, which gives you all sorts of posing options. Now it comes in this black, it's almost a rubber material as opposed to the other plastics in the kit. And I can't stand this black, so I repainted it in a dark gray from Tamiya. And that looks a little closer to the anime. It was more of a dark gray. But the still is a little clean, but I have a fix for that. There you see it attached. I think it looks a little bit better. But it does look a little clean for a battle damage kit, but I can fix that. Also, the sword, the GN sword, is broken, chipped, and beat up. But this comes on the L plate as plain white. So if you want it silver and to look like a sword, you're going to have to repaint that as well. But that does look really nice. It looks all chewed up and beat to snot, but it also needs to be dirtied up a little. The shield does have a separate piece. For the front of the shield, it has little nicks and cuts on it, but you can't even really tell unless you look really, really close. Same as always, plugs into the arm and connects just fine. And you have one of the 4 beam sabers that are left. So, not a whole lot of weapons on this kit, but it's the Exia Repair. There's not much left of the original Exia on this thing. Now, as I mentioned before, I thought this kit looked a little too clean, a little too nice. So I took my paints, I took some silver, some smoke, some natto black, and I roughed this kit up pretty good. I wanted to look more battle damage, more weathered, more nasty. Use some silver, a little bit of copper, a little bit of gold, and really give it a little bit more character. And here you can see, I wanted it to really look nasty. I really went over the cloak, added some black, added some smoke. Really made it look nasty because this is the repair. This is not supposed to be an intact mobile suit. It's supposed to be a barely intact mobile suit. Now the weapon I decided to go back and redo a little bit from here, but the kit is pretty much done in terms of the weathering. But I thought it turned out pretty nice. Now, one thing you'll notice, with all the paint I've done, it became kind of glossy, especially in certain places, like the shoulder and the cloak. And for a weathering kit, this is just too glossy, so I had to kill it with a matte finish. Anytime you're doing a weathering or battle damage job, you got to add a matte finish. The problem is, when you add that finish, it can affect the clear parts. And the Exia has a lot of clear parts on the chest, on the head, on the arm. 2 places on the legs, on the front and the side. So you got to cover all that up with a little bit of tape just to keep it clean. And here is post. You can see there's still a little bit of gloss there, but it's toned down by a lot, especially on that cloak. Looks a little rougher and gruffier as opposed to shiny. The decals, I really didn't use a whole lot of the decals, basically because of the battle damage. I did use parts of the decals. I cut them up and put them on certain places so you can see that there were markings on the kit at one time. The one on the knee is pretty much intact. There's some on the waist area that are in pieces. Some on the chest that are kind of there. I cut them up. I roughed over them. On the back, with some of the dry transfers, I only transferred some of the decal. It made it look like the decal had worn off. So if you look carefully, you can see that there might have been markings on this kit at one time, but they've been rubbed off. In reality, they were kind of half put on to begin with. For the sword, I went back and added some more chips and a little more effect to where it was all beat up. The decals, I cut some off. I covered up some with paint. I really went to town on the shield, really made that look nice and nasty. I love the way that turned out. And here you see the finished product after it's all been painted and treated and finished. And I was actually pretty pleased with this kit. I think I overdid my own skills on this kit. I think it turned out pretty good. And here you see with the LED light in there. And like I said, this is one of those kits that kind of exceeded my skills. I think I outdid myself on this case, so I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it turned out real nice. In terms of posability, this has the problem that pretty much all Exias do, and that's balance. You can do all sorts of things with the arm and the cloak, but you just touch this thing a little and it starts losing its balance, and you got to reset everything. But that's a problem with all Exias. But no real problem holding any of the weapons, and you can get all sorts of neat poses out of it. It just takes a little bit of patience because of the balance issues. But the cloak and the beat-up sword do make things look really nice. Now, if you do this kit, you're going to have a whole lot of leftover pieces. And this kind of comes as a modeler's tip to everyone. When you have a whole lot of leftover pieces, or even you have a little, always hang on to them. I have a box I mark spare parts. In there I got polycaps and leftover parts from different kits. You never know when they're going to come in useful, so always keep the extra parts. Final thoughts on this kit. I'm giving this kit a thumbs up. This is one of the only master grades I can think of that comes pre-battle damaged, pre-scarred, pre-beat up. It looks already rough up straight out of the box, and that's a really neat looking kit, and it's a fun build. The only hazard with the kit is, first you got to do a fair amount of painting for a master grade, and a lot of detailing if you want it to look really nice. And there aren't a whole lot of accessories with this version of the kit. There's pretty much the sword and one beam saber, and that's about it. But overall, this is a fun kit. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you found it informative. If you got any questions, ask them. I'll answer them as best I can. Let me know what you think of the kit. Like I said, I think I outdid myself a little bit. So let me know what you guys think. And stick around for more reviews. I always got more reviews coming, so stay tuned for that. See you next time, everyone. Oh, and one more thing. We got the Exia Repair, we got the standard Exia, and we got the Trans Am. It's no Prime 92, but I like it.